It's been a while. I haven't been able to stream for a bit and a half because I was busy being at the ER. So I figured I'd catch up on the stuff now that I missed because there was a lot of stuff. I just kept getting notifications about, oh, somebody new games release, somebody new games release. I'm like, damn, I want to know. So now I'm gonna know. So Diablo 4, Necromancer cinematic. I think I've seen this. And yeah, Diablo 4 monetization. We'll talk about that later. I think it's going to have a upfront cost. You buy the game. The game is online only. And then in the game, there's going to be a cosmetic store. As far as I've heard and read, if I understand things correctly, there's going to be a cosmetic store where you cannot buy things that affect the game. You cannot buy levels. You can't pay to win like Immortal. You can only buy skins, which I guess is cool, but it seems I don't necessarily like that idea in a game where you pay up front, right? If they make the game and then a year later they add some clothing DLCs and whatever, but we all know this game is going to come out and it's going to have a full lineup of really cool shit in the store right away, and you feel like you got scammed. Like, why not just have that in the game already? Day one DLC is, depending on what it is, not always very fun. But have a look at this. Now, warning, this is really grim. This is really grim from what I remember. It's a Diablo game, so you shouldn't be surprised. You should not be surprised at all, but content warning.
Now, to those who heed a darker call.
Hellhound. I've killed so many. Oh, okay. Corpse explosion. Oh, Necromancer. Oh, it's a different trailer. I read it, but I didn't read it. Necromancer. That was one of the things I talked about. I don't think Necromancer was in Diablo 3. It might have been added in one of the DLCs eventually, or expansions, but Necromancer is one of those classes that was really fun in Diablo 2. But I think the Witch Doctor took its place, and it's very similar, but not really the same at all.
Those bold enough to cross the line of sin for deeper knowledge, who follow an unquenchable yearning.
I was gonna taste it, isn't she? Or he.
And bone.
Wow. That looks so bad. And maybe that's what it looks like IRL, but it does not look good. The focus shift to over here. It's such a sharp line. It doesn't look very cool. I need to chill. I've almost eaten all my grapes already. I want to have some in a bit too, you know? Maybe it's because of the fire. I don't know. It's so jarring. Like compared to, I don't know. It's just funny. Doesn't matter at all. Oh, here we go.
The forbidden secrets and foulest.
That's really cool.
Rituals, calling forth life from death.
I love it. Oh, he talks. What?
To truly
Why raise the body from the dead only to decapitate it? Maybe she get power from it or something.
this power, you must take it into the world.
Oh, that's
You
creepy
will be
looking.
shunned, scorned, marked as a living sacrifice to this profane knowledge. You will be a priest of Rathma, a necromancer.
Oh, druid? Or maybe just werewolves. I don't know.
The darkness alone. We are the speakers of the dead, and the dead have no mercy.
That's cool. That is so cool. Holy shit. Doesn't really matter how good or bad it is. I'm probably gonna play this game no matter what because
Play it on
it's a
Xbox
Diablo
Series
game.
X and S.
A Diablo game, man. I just hope it's not going crazy with the monetization. Let's have a look at the developer gameplay showcase because it's Diablo, man. It's only 4 minutes. That's very short. At least compared to the other one. The interesting thing is, obviously now, not yet, but eventually, Microsoft will be owning the Diablo franchise after the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, ActiBliz. Everything you see was captured on Xbox Series X. Okay.
Diablo.
I just hope it's not too console-centric. I really hope it's not. Because obviously having a game on console is way more limited than it would be on PC, as in the amount of abilities you can use at a time or keybinds or all of that stuff. The graphics don't really matter as long as the art style and everything is good and well made.
4 is the next generation of action RPG, melding monster slaying and loot collecting with a fully realized open world.
It's not for the faint of heart. It's gory and
Epic.
unnerving.
Oh.
It's creepy.
Oh, that's cool.
4 is all about player choice.
It takes all of the pillars of a Diablo game
All right, is that like, that's not the Necromancer, is it? Like a blood mage. Yeah.
and just expands them with all of the new features
Barbarian.
that people really love and appreciate
Necromancer.
in modern games.
Oh, you got horses. That's neat.
Whoever you see your
So let's see. Barbarian, Ranger, Sorceress, and also Barbarian? Maybe this is a druid actually, because of the clothing.
self being, you can create.
It doesn't say which character is targeted though. Maybe she's talking
Whatever
about
you
it.
see yourself being, you can create in Diablo 4.
It's important to include robust character customization because then I can play the fantasy that I want to play.
You're never gonna see your character though.
It allows you to switch around your playstyle as well.
That's cool though. That's cool. I like it. Even though you might not see all of it all the time. It's nice, like, kind of representing yourself in a way. That's good. And it's also going to help them sell more skins, I guess, because you're going to enhance the digital Diablo you. You'll be more closely connected or attached to your character, and you'll be more likely to invest into it. That's cool.
Everything feels very powerful and fun.
It'd be cool if you had Bull Rush.
One of the really cool things about having an open world is your journey that you take throughout Diablo 4 is your
Open
own.
world.
There's no linear path that you have to follow.
This looks, and this reminds me of Act 2 in Diablo 3. You're up on this cliff and you see like the big city down below. It's just the same. Maybe it is the same. I mean, obviously this takes place after possibly Diablo 3, so.
We've got almost 150 dungeons in the game.
There's all kinds of surprises as you're exploring.
Ooh.
Strongholds are an enemy territory that you need to reclaim.
You might have a space that begins as a hostile area, but after you've cleared it out,
Imp Mother, the larger boss.
it now becomes a friendly town.
Interesting.
Sometimes it's a new town, sometimes it's a new dungeon. There's a whole bunch of rewards that you get. And you have a real impact on the world as a result.
No, you can't leave us here. They might come back any moment.
Local events are really cool little story segments that happen within the open world.
Oh, she should have left them.
Running through the world and then
Oh, that's a cool ability. I like that. But it doesn't seem to do a whole lot of damage. Like, okay,
Or get a group up and you can choose to participate in it.
she's what, 2 or 3 shotting enemies?
And then a local event will pop up and you
Oh,
can
maybe
choose
not.
to participate
That
in it.
snake attack is really cool.
Or get a group together and just wail on these like giant world bosses.
So you're definitely taking inspiration, possibly
These are events
from
that
like
take a
Lost
lot of
Ark like
people, and
games.
we really have to work together.
'Cause I remember killing a world boss in Lost Ark
Being
and
able to
getting some
see
really
all the
cool
players
stuff.
on your screen, collaborating, trying to take this big monster down. It's epic.
I'm down to my last grape after this one.
It's so easy to create a community. It makes Diablo more of a social experience.
We've got fully enabled crossplay.
If you have an Xbox and your buddy has a PC, you're going to be able to group up.
Or you could play couch co-op. 2 people on a couch can
They're obviously not going to mention PlayStation, but they say full crossplay. I'm assuming it has to include all platform the game is released on. Maybe it doesn't come to PS5. It would surprise me because that's a big player base they'd be missing out on. But I would assume full crossplay means full crossplay. And I wonder if they're going to pull that move, because I remember, I think it's Microsoft back in the day as well, like having exclusivity on game releases for a month, you know, which sucked. I wonder if they're going to do that again. Now, obviously, that wouldn't affect me as a PC player because Windows, I'd be whatever. But yeah.
We've created specific zones where players can engage in PvP.
If you go there, you can start swinging away.
That's going to be incredibly hard to balance. I feel like I never played PvP in a Diablo game. I don't really know what it's like. I just know that some people get wicked strong and others not so much. I also wonder how the open world and multiplayer stuff is going to affect people, because like, I don't think I want to run into a lot of people. If I want to farm something or kill something, obviously the dungeons are solo if you want them to be. They're going to be instanced. But I wonder if you can play solo and not partake in the MMO and have people chatting and whatever. But I think it'll be interesting.
People, but you're also opening yourself up to being swung at.
If you're like really, really good, the game actually marks you as like a champion on the map.
I don't know if it's going to be like you're really, really good.
And everyone wants to chase you.
It could just all come down to gear. I feel like that's going to be more than anything. But that's just me assuming based on how character progression has been in other Diablo games. Like, just because you're at the same level doesn't mean that you're going to be on equal footing terms, right? Someone might have like a crap load of resistances, like a lot, maxed out. Maxed out, and you run up to Sorceress, who doesn't have much of anything, but you're the same level. I don't even know. Endgame.
The last story mission is really the beginning of a whole different part of the journey.
Now you're set up for the end game, and
Endgame is interesting. Endgame is very, very important, obviously. Diablo 3's endgame back in the day sucked. I know they added a lot of stuff and made it better in the expansions. I just hope it's good from the get-go. Like, I don't want to get to an endgame and find it boring. I really like Path of Exile's endgame with the maps and the space thingy. And you kind of progress to more difficult ones eventually, and you get more and more gear, and like, it was just really cool. And really addictive. And then they have seasons, of course. I betcha they're gonna be seasons here too.
that end game is
like you restart and you play again.
Allow you to get more and
with
more
the MMO, that's
whether it's new
would
items
really
or
work.
new dungeons or new Paragon boards. Every single time you come back to play Diablo 4, there's going to be new stuff for you to experience.
And it's something that we're going to support for years to come.
Now, the question is, of course,
for years to come.
I want to see the map again. Here it is. What does all this indicate? Are these just grindable? Like, this is just any kind of random dungeon. It's just like opening up a map in Path of Exile, or doing like a rift in Diablo. There's just some enemies there, some bosses, and you get some loot, and they move up to the next one, and it's the same again. And they just have different themes. Maybe this is where you get into hard mode, right? Just start out on the left side, and you go. Get in here, and that's where like it gets really difficult. Obviously, these mean special maps, these diamonds. I'm interested, and obviously they're going to add more and more of these. You see another connection there. That's cool. I like it because you're going to be moving through here. I'm guessing every step to the right is going to be more difficult than the next. You've got a connection up there too. Okay, so maybe they all share difficulty, but I imagine like difficult, more. And if you run into a wall here, you just can't get through. You can't beat this one. You take another path. and you get more gear and loot and experience getting through this. I think that looks fun. I think that looks pretty interesting. It's been a while. I haven't been able to stream for a bit and a half. And obviously I missed a lot of Xbox / Bethesda showcases because I was busy being at the ER. So I figured I'd catch up on the stuff now that I missed because there was a lot of stuff. I just kept getting notifications about, oh, somebody new games release, somebody new games release. I'm like, damn, I want to know. So now I'm gonna know. I guess that's a boss and you get loot, and these are just more difficult. So maybe these are difficulty diamonds, and you get the boss loot here. It's in the center. And this is the big boss, so you can connect through here. He's been all the way through here already. Ready to go there, already connected there, and then there's a boss.
Boards. Every single time you come back to play Diablo 4, there's going to be new stuff for you to experience.
And it's something that we're going to support for years to come.
I'm really excited for
So many spiders, man.
Diablo 4.
Always spiders, bro.
Of people really enjoying the different options.
Through the campaign,
local events,
Couch co-op,
Endgame,
PvP, it almost doesn't end.
And we are so close.
It looks like Maleficent, doesn't it? Like the Angelina Jolie Maleficent, kind of. Just the outline, I guess. So is this supposed to be... I can't remember who the bad guy is in Diablo 4. I remember the cinematic, the first one, which was really, really gruesome and grim and cool looking. But this might be Diablo. Maybe this is the girl. I don't remember her name, but the girl that ends up being taken by Diablo in Diablo 3. And then you beat him, of course. Maybe that's her coming back. They messed up so badly with Diablo Immortal, and now they announced Diablo 4. They've been working on Diablo 4 for a long time. And yeah, Diablo Immortal was a shit show. It is. I haven't tried it. I know it's one of the most pay-to-win games of all time, which is incredibly bad. It's a bad look. It's a greedy look. So yeah, they've been waiting to announce this. They have announced the game a while back. Like, they had the cinematic a year ago or two. I don't know. It's a while. And this is just showing off more stuff. Showing off a trailer for a new character or a new class or a returning class, the Necromancer. The thing is, they went out and they said there's not going to be pay to win, but there is going to be microtransactions in an upfront paid game, which is not ideal, especially after they fucked up with Immortals so bad. Like, people are not going to trust them. They're not going to believe it. And the game is, again, always online, I think. It does make more sense in this game, though. You're going to run into people in the world. But I really feel like you should be able to play offline. Maybe there will be an offline or a LAN mode like in Diablo 2, but... yeah, so I believe what I saw was that microtransactions, they'll have a microtransaction store, but there will be no pay to win. You can't buy currencies or items or levels or anything, but there will be skins, cosmetics, which I think is fair if the game is free, or if the game is like $20 or 30 instead of 60. Then yeah, that's an all right deal. I would get the game cheaper, and I don't have to buy the cosmetics. But it is a little bit of a double dip going. They've done this before, of course. I remember when they added it in World of Warcraft, and people were like, oh, okay, you can buy mounts in the store, good stuff, or wings, or anything. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. As long as it's only cosmetics, I think it's fine. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it doesn't affect the game, but it is still sleazy at times, depending on how it's implemented and how they do it. It's not necessarily a good look for them. But I feel like if they're going to do that, they should at least lower the price of the game. But who knows? Maybe the game will be included in Xbox Game Pass. Possibly. I haven't seen anything about that, but if it is, then sure, go ahead. Like, that's fine. I recall them saying that Diablo 2 wouldn't be, or Diablo 2, Diablo Immortals wouldn't be pay to win a while back, a long time ago. And lo and behold, that changed. Not sure. But this is a game I'll try, definitely. I'll give it a go. All hell breaks loose. I knew it. I knew it. I'm psychic. Next year, Ooh. I like this. Mmm. This looks good. Mostly because it reminds me of Tal Rash's tombs in Diablo 2. I loved it. It was horrible, but also so cool. Now, the question is, will they have RTX? Will there be ray tracing? Well, hopefully. Play it on Xbox.
Series.
Diablo 4 platforms. Will it be on PlayStation? It will be on PlayStation. And they did say full crossplay. So I guess PlayStation, PC, Xbox, I mean, will be able to crossplay, which is nice. There's not that many games with full crossplay. It's like Rocket League, almost. I don't know if that's changed, but I remember Rocket League had crossplay really early, a really generous one. But there was one caveat. PlayStation wouldn't let PlayStation players play with Xbox players. PlayStation could play with PC players, I believe, and possibly Switch players. I don't know, but they wouldn't let them play with other console players mostly. It was just ridiculous. Like, we're trying to protect your community. Like, come on, dude. Windows. Let's see. Diablo 4 Game Pass. Will it be there? Obviously, that's not going to happen until Microsoft fully owns Activision Blizzard, probably, which is like a year away from happening now at best. Then again, this game might release after that, so there's a good chance it might be on the Xbox Game Pass. Well, at the point the deal closes, it would definitely be added. There's no guarantee that it'll be added. Absolutely no guarantee. But I do think adding it to the Game Pass is a great way to maintain a good amount of play, because a lot of people have the Game Pass. A lot of people will see it when they're on the computer like, oh yeah, I can play that. Obviously, if you buy the game first, you're always going to have the game. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Now I have to decide whether I buy it on PS5 at launch or wait for it to come out in Game Pass. When does it arrive? It didn't say, right? It's just 2023. Yeah, we don't know when. I mean, if it's on Game Pass, that's great. If World of Warcraft ends up on Game Pass, I'll play more World of Warcraft, probably. Possibly. Let's have a look. Diablo 4. Oh, Diablo 4 looks great. Excited for this not to have mobile-style monetization. Full crossplay is huge, too. Yes. D4 is coming out as a full-price game built strictly for PC console audience. The game is huge, and there will be tons of content after launch for all players. Launch. Paid content is built around optional cosmetics and eventually full expansions. Full expansions, great. Cosmetics, ultimately irrelevant depending on how they do it. I mean, it's like, it doesn't really matter, but it can still be really sleazy. Candlestan said you wouldn't be able to buy gear in Diablo Immortal, which I think is true, technically, but you still buy all the gems or the crests. I think maybe you can buy gear too as well. Exactly, this is a good point. Unless they are specifically saying no microtransactions will be directly related to progression or power of your character. Even then, like, might not be true. I bet you they're gonna end up like in a situation like Maple Store where you can buy bonus experience tickets for 2 hours or extra drop chance for 2 hours or silly things like that. I would hate it if that happens. Ultimately, I'm not going to play this game in a competitive way, so it wouldn't really affect me other than people having an easier time, which would be annoying, of course. But then again, if that does happen, do I want to support a game like that? No, don't necessarily want that. It depends on what it costs. Yeah, there's no way to acquire rank up gear using money. But then there's still so many pay to win things with the crest. You buy a crest, which gives you a great chance, way greater than anyone else who doesn't pay, of getting gem upgrades, gear, whatever bull. Because I did see a video of someone doing I don't know what they're called, like the equivalent of a rift in Diablo, like doing one of the crests. I think they just call crests. So he did a crest. I think, oh, it was Asmongold, actually. He spent 40,000. I don't know if I can find it. But essentially, he beats the boss in one of these mini dungeons. Some loot drops. There's a big chest that spawns on the ground. He opens it and just lots of gold, legendary, 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 just flies out of the chest on the ground. And that was when he used the legendary crest that he had purchased in the store. And then he did a run as a normal player without any like bonuses added via whatever. And he gets like 2 blue items. It's like, what the fuck? It's gross. It's ridiculous. Buying crests and using that system is like playing the new Diablo 3 where you have better gear, you've got everything is much better. And then if you play as a free-to-play, it's essentially original Diablo 3 where the grind is horrendous, you get crap loot, it's all random, and the scaling was just weird, like it's dumb. Don't forget the cap on grinding, yes. So I believe I've seen that you can get 3 crests a month, roughly, give or take 1 or 2 a month as a free-to-play player, which is not enough. The funny thing is that I've also heard that doing one of these crests takes, what, 5 minutes? And if you buy 100 crests, that's 500 minutes of gaming on top of the $200, which I mean, there should be gaming related. You should be playing the game. You're still going to have a crap chance of getting loot, and you're spending a considerable amount of time trying to do so, and also a lot of money. So, but ultimately, like, if you fall down that route, it's your own fault if you spend a lot of money, but the fact that people do spend incentivizes this kind of thing for developers, which is bull crap. Very bull crap. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I just hope they don't F it up, man. I had a fun time playing Diablo 3 originally. I ran into the wall of difficulty in Act 2 on Hell, and that's where you just had to start grinding hours and hours and hours, hoping for small improvements and drops and stuff. It's difficult, very difficult. I will have a good time with it, probably, as long as the gameplay is good, the story is interesting enough. The endgame is fun and not too grindy. The endgame is going to be grindy. Diablo endgame has always been very grindy, which is fine. Like people were doing billions and billions of ball runs in Diablo 2, so I don't mind that at all. But if they make it artificially extra grindy and then they add things that makes it easier, like it would be easy as a developer to justify selling like, oh yeah, you can buy 1 legendary crest a day for 50 cents. That's not that much. That's not that much. But people are going to do it. And then they're going to start charging more. It's just, I don't know. Why the need for paid cosmetic items? Many of us like the customization part of our ARPGs. And yes, PoE paid for cosmetics, but it's a free game. That's also a very big thing. I betcha, I said this before, and I'll say it again. I betcha there's going to be a fully stocked cosmetic store on day 1 on Diablo 4. It's not like they polish the game, they finish it fully. Everything is added to the game. And then, like, after a week or whatever, they start adding, like, occasional cosmetics because they now have time on their hands. So that's fine. But I bet you it's going to be fully stocked of goodies and epic-looking items on day 1, which I kind of have a problem with because they should just be in the game right away. You should be able to earn them for difficult achievements or buy them from secret vendors or merchants or drop from whatever. Like, there should be a lot of cosmetics available in game without paying, which I think there will be. I don't know. I haven't seen anything about it, but I can't imagine they'd have cosmetics and then only have them in the store. Like service games, they're going to have seasonal content, PoE style. Definitely, as long as it's as good as PoE, then it's fine. And like, maybe they can add a battle pass. I do not know. I don't know if I trust them to add a battle pass though. Power gain items in the battle pass on the free side, but more so on the paid side. We'll see. Only time will tell. It's over a year, probably, until the game comes out. Seasonal content on a pay-to-win game sounds sketchy. I mean, it depends on how it's done. If they do it like Path of Exile, that's great. You get new content for free, and you get like the refresh, and you got your eternal server, or like where your characters go to retire, you know, you can still play them. I think that's fine. I think it's fine to have seasonal content on a not on a pay-to-win game, of course. No. They're definitely going to have seasonal content on Immortal as well. But Diablo 4 is, as they claim, not a pay-to-win game. Technically correct is the worst kind of correct in this case. And I mean, yeah, if you did not believe a mobile game was not going to have pay-to-win elements, no matter how small or big, you're kind of living under a rock. I expected it because it's a mobile game. They're going to add some annoying grind, or in other games, they just add a lot of ads so you can skip by paying, or just like a really slow grind, which they did in Diablo, and you can buy currencies to get things or use them to increase the speed and the pace of the grind. So yeah, I wasn't surprised. I'm surprised other people were surprised. This would give them enough wiggle room to re-implement the real money auction highs from Diablo 3. I think the real money auction house in Diablo 3 was not good. It was not good. It meant they had to make loot, good loot, really good loot, incredibly rare. You could play a lot of hours and never get a legendary. Because if everyone got a legendary often, loot would be worthless. Except the extreme items on the very high end of rolls would be worth a lot, like the Echoing Fury going for $10,000. It would have made it way too easy to progress gear-wise with a lot of items being super cheap, because there's 100,000 people playing it and 80,000 people getting 1 or 2 legendaries every day or every other day. That's a lot of legendaries that's going to go on the real money auction house, and they'd be really cheap. Really cheap. Gacha system normal in PC games? Yeah. I mean, you need someone to push the envelope into, like, at the current point in time, unethical or absolute bullshit territory. So I remember, like, it was when they had the horse DLC armor in the past, unthinkable, but they pushed to that. They walked it back, but the bar had been moved. The goalpost was now ever so slightly further away. And then when other games add stuff, it becomes a bit more normalized, and they had the battle pass, which I think is a good way of monetizing a free game. And then it just pushes it. So I know a lot of developers were probably super happy Genshin did as well as it did, and having a lot of pay to win. I bet you a lot of developers, mobile developers especially, are really happy with how far Diablo Immortal went, because now they can do less than that, but more than previously, without taking any bad flack, because it's more expected. So Activision Blizzard gets all the bad PR for pushing it too far, and other games can push theirs a little bit farther and just do it a little bit better, because they see what didn't work, what people really had problems with, and what level they'd have problems with. And Blizzard's reputation was already bad, so nothing changes for them. That is true. Activision Blizzard have been going down the bad PR route for a long time. But I think the reputation will take a huge bump. It already did. The Microsoft deal was announced. World of Warcraft started making changes that people liked. It's like, oh, they're listening, blah, 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 blah. People would be hopeful. I am hopeful. Because it's now a new owner who will hopefully not allow as much bull to happen and go on in the background behind the scenes. I think they'll get some sort of soft reset once the Microsoft deal is through, because people think now it's Microsoft. It's going to be different. People have a decent amount of trust in Microsoft. Not super much. They've done a lot of bad things in the past, as in removed studios and stuff. But for example, Minecraft was great. Other acquisitions have done well. The Game Pass is really good. They have a lot of goodwill, like, stored up, right? And they'll use some of that to kind of add to Activision Blizzard and future Activision Blizzard games like Warcraft, World of Warcraft, Diablo, StarCraft, whatever else they happen to make. So I think they'll have a little bit of a soft reset. But who knows? Time will tell.